More ideas. How to weed out your audience. Fill up the first 10 seconds with absolutely nothing. They'll watch it for 10 seconds and they'll be like, this sucks, and they'll leave. So you just got rid of most of your troll base. That's how you do it. You have the first minute or so just staring into the camera. I'm not really staring in the camera. I'm staring at my face, staring at my face, staring at my face, staring at my face, staring at my face. Yeah. You never see, they could put the camera in the center of the screen if people could stand to have that one dot just be a little bit less bright. So you could put a camera behind it. And, or maybe imagine the screen has, in between every single pixel, has like a little camera in there. Or in some certain places have little cameras. Or maybe, just as I said, that there would be fluctuations. No, I don't know what to say there. It's a, here's how you do it. Put a camera over here, put a camera over here. Morph the images from both cameras. You could have a stereo image, or you could make the two images. You could use the information for two images to imagine a camera in the center of the screen. So you would be looking at yourself, but you wouldn't. It would be a combination of these two cameras' inputs, and they would just morph what they would, through some sort of triangulation, determine what your face would look like had you been looking straight at your face on the screen. And then you'd be looking at your face on the screen and you'd be freaking out because you were looking at your face on the screen. And then all time would stop, and God say, that's enough of that. We're getting tired of you humans thinking up stuff that just kind of makes stuff too unnatural, and it'd get wiped away, and that'd be that. Somehow I don't think God's going to do that. I think God's going to say, I already thought of this a long time ago, been there, done that. There'll be an outcome of it. You just won't like it, but that's the thing is that you get this feeling that things are just really, really well thought out. Just like this guy was talking about honey, about the reason why their honey doesn't grow bacteria and stuff, is because the pH level's too low and they don't have enough water, and so they just don't have the proper physics of what's necessary for bacteria to live on. That's the reason when I've always been told that that if you have enough sugar in something that that bacteria can't live on it, but I didn't understand why until that guy talked about honey, about what honey does, and I was like, oh, so that's the reason why. And then I was watching this lady, and she was talking about storage containers in these storage container homes, and saying that they're not realistic because of all of the construction that would be necessary to compensate for the holes that they made in the storage containers. And I subscribed to her because she was kind of interesting. She also had a video on hyperinflation, so I was interested in that too. But evidently, she says she's in the business end of things, or she's this lady who does architecture and understands building contracts and junk like that. And she said that it's more of just a vanity thing for people to use storage containers in homes rather than it actually being a reality that you could use storage containers in homes. Said some major things is that the storage containers can't have been used more than once. So you're basically using a storage container that hasn't been used before to make it into a home. You could do that, but then there would be other things like the potential that the storage container contains certain heavy metals or certain chemical components to it. So the storage containers, if they were to be reused over and over again and to be made in homes, they would have to verify that none of the contents that were put into the storage containers were had any harsh chemicals in them, which would probably be a good thing, because then you could have storage containers that are used for industrial use and then storage containers that are used for consumer products. And the ones that are used for consumer products, you could use those as and make those into homes, and the ones that are used for industrial use, you could verify that they could only be used for transporting chemicals and stuff like that. But they would do that with a different kind of container rather than that kind of container. But she was saying that this is the reason why in California, if you make a storage container based home, it has to have been used only once, and that is when it was sent over, or 0 or more times, 0 or 1 time, but not more than once. And probably the reason why it's 0 or 1 or 1 or more, they probably are using unified modeling language to describe their schematics of how things are done, because unified modeling language limits you to 0 to 1 or 1 to many relationships, unless you have to specify the number of times something could be connected or how many things connect to it. And that's the only time I've ever heard of people using such lingual stuff. Of course, it's, don't go to your friends and saying, hey, you talked about UML. I know UML. You don't know UML. I would be like a Men in Black thing. You don't know UML. You weren't here. Blink and it's wiped from your memory. And UML is only useful for people that are doing schematics for businesses and operating environments for computers and stuff, and relationships to your clients through the client apps, and how your servers are set up, and your maintenance model, and the messages that are sent between the computers. And that's all UML's for. It's really to allow the people in a business to figure out what the tech people are doing, because otherwise they'd have no clue, and they'd have to send their spies through your tech groups, and they would have to look over your shoulders, and they'd have to ask you questions, and they would be like, okay, so are you like devising some new technology that's going to take over the world? And you'd say, no, I'm only interested in getting Subway sandwiches and watching yay nay television, or watching me, or you'd come to realization that there isn't that many people in the world that are into world domination, and those people are usually in the government, or they're running some big company, or they're in your company, and they're probably your bosses for all we know. Because as I said, what was it, 4% of management is psychopaths? Those are the guys that are thinking about world domination. And the way to detect if you're working for a psychopath, if your friends' jobs look really nice and they're doing the same thing as you, and your life is a living hell, you're working for a psychopath. So that's how you do it. You determine it, and how you're being treated by your boss, and your friends are not treated the same way, then it's possible you're working for a psychopath. And I was saying I was going to do this in my videos, but I didn't. I'm not going to do it. I don't believe in conforming to anything. I'm a nonconformist. I don't conform to doing anything of any pattern, because I want the freedom to sit back and do absolutely nothing, which is what most capitalists fear, is people sitting back and doing nothing. Because then they think, oh no, you're into communism. Yeah, I guess I am. I'm into sitting back and doing absolutely nothing. That isn't communism, by the way, but that's probably socialism. Yeah, that's where you're getting paid and to do nothing, and you're not doing something with your talent, which is really not me at all. But they could say that about me if they want to go out and spread it about me, and then it would just draw more people to my video feed, and they'd find out that I actually have a brain and I think about stuff. And some people would say, well, the things he's thinking about are not they're not according to the regulations set out by Yahoo agency, and he hasn't done proper research. He's not a professional in these fields, and he's not working for these companies. And after a while, you come to realization that this guy basically is just saying stuff on YouTube. Yeah. It's up to you to determine whether or not what I'm saying is feasible or useful. And so the people that probably be watching my video feed are probably people that are looking for ideas. That's my audience, the people that are looking for ideas. They're not really looking for that. I mean, they're looking for truth, but what determines truth is how you feel about it, how you think about it. If more than 50% of what I say is true, then it's probably true. If less than 50% of what I say is true, then it's probably false. But it still could be true. See? And so that's how you find truth is, and then you don't feel the need to kind of just like knock your friend's door down whenever someone who would be like me, that would be spreading a lot of truth, and then chooses to make a couple of videos that are lies. And the reason why they make those lies is so that they could verify if somebody was plagiarizing them. So if somebody else produces videos about some content, that's what you would do, is to create some false content. I'm not going to do that, but because I'm not really concerned about people stealing this stuff and regurgitating it to other people. I'm just saying, do your research, because I haven't done mine. Unless I say that I've heard from somebody, or I remember something, or, it gives you the capacity to go and do the research. And that's when you would want to make a decision about something. It's not based upon what I say, but you would have to go and do ample research to see if other people said it. And if I'm completely wrong, I'm completely wrong. I'll tell you, I don't go to Wikipedia much, and it's not that Wikipedia lies or anything. It doesn't. It's that I'm trying to build up my own capacity in my brain to remember things, and going to Wikipedia is just going to make me more dependent upon what other people, maybe that, no, I'm just lazy. I'm as lazy as fuck, and I can be influenced by documentaries, and I'm like a neuron. I collect from a bunch of different kinds of stimuli, and I produce ideas. And that's, if I have a talent, it's the ability to produce unique ideas. And I don't see any reason why I should hold back the ideas. Now, I don't know if I could really say my ideas were good, so holding it back is not so much of a problem. I mean, it'd probably be better for me to sell my unfiltered content, because then that way only the people that had money could collect the content and then make use of it. But this way I give a kind of incentive to other people that might do the same sort of thing. So essentially, what would happen is that the people who have money would get tired of me saying stuff that undercuts their technology or whatever they're trying to produce. Then they'd be paying me to shut up, and I'd say, "Yay! Somebody finally figured out how to pay me to shut up." No, I wouldn't shut up, but I would probably stop talking about whatever it is they paid me to stop talking about, um, which is a kind of a subtractive entertainment. It's the things you won't talk about in your feed because you're being paid not to talk about them, rather than being paid to talk about something. You're being paid to not talk about something, and then I'd get Patreon subscribers that would subscribe to me to not talk about certain subjects that have certain industries that would be like, it would be like I'd be like somebody who the entire industry would be, all industries would be paying me to not talk about them, and rather than the government coming in and making me go to jail because of things I might say, I would have all these corporations paying me not to say things about them or related fields that they might be interested in going into. But none such thing is happening, and I don't get money from corporations or anybody. I just get money from a trust. And that's really how I'm able to be here. If that trust goes away, sad day. But I'll probably figure out some way for world domination. It just won't be, it'll probably be domination by selling hot dogs. I'd be selling hot dogs, I'd be making enough to get on the internet, find some porn, and ejaculate.